Yes! Hello, welcome back to Clockwork Noodles. We are definitely in my favourite arc. I absolutely loved the backstory for Yugiri. Loved it to pieces. There's a lot of good stuff that also happens this episode too that I can't wait to discuss with you guys. But first things first, make sure you are subscribed. I have begun collecting the materials to make my Spring 2021 wrap up. I can't wait to bring you guys that. What are my top 3 anime of this season? I'm telling you guys, it's not been easy to pick. Every other video I have ever made, I have been able to go, oh yeah, this is number 1, this is number 2. I've really struggled to pick my top 3. I still haven't written it down, so I haven't exactly recorded yet, but I'm at the point where I'm ready to record. I've picked my full anime for you guys. I can't wait to tell you what we're going to be watching, what we're going to be breaking down on the channel next season. I will also give you a breakdown of all the other anime I'll watch in my spare time, and then you guys can also have a breakdown on all the animes that are coming your way that you may or may not be aware of. It is a bit of a step down from this season. I think there's not as much going on, but there's a few maybe possible hidden gems, and of course it is summer of isekai. Make sure as well, if you are interested, you join the Discord channel to get notified whenever videos go up on the channel. I will be using it as a platform build a bit further on as the channel gets bigger, hopefully gets bigger. I'm going to say that with inverted quotes because we haven't really grown this season. This has been a very quiet season channel wise, but it is a place that I do intend to use as a platform a bit later on. So let's jump into it because this is our amazing wrap up, and I thought I had it figured out at one point, and I'm really sad because I cleared a certain character and then a certain character didn't live up to the expectations. I cleared him. That we're still in the past. I love it to pieces. My favourite backstory. I love this backstory to pieces, the way it's handled, the way that it's very different from the rest of the anime in general, even music-wise. I'm going to talk about some of the music a little bit later on as well. We saw last episode that the saga movement that Kichi is supporting starts to gain a few more followers. However, these followers are very different from Kichi, and they have different ideas on how they should be going about this movement. And things get a little bit more hot-headed as we enter on arguing. We get to see that Yugiri is aiding Kichi. She's actually helping provide medication for the crazy grandpa, as I kept calling him. But we also see that she is still hanging around the movement. I believe she does believe in what he wants. He wants that free saga. It's something that she truly believes in as well. However, we do get to see Ito continuing being shady behind the scenes. I did figure that he would be against the saga movement. However, it's not as cut and dry as I think it appears to be portrayed. We do get to see some modernisation start hitting Saga, where we have the photo opportunity. The photo itself would last throughout time. It would survive the ticking of the time, and I did wonder if the photo was still around in the modern day period. I got my answer right at the end, and I'm so happy that I did actually put that down because I didn't think the photo section was there for no reason whatsoever. Kichi's comrades in general just are not as friendly with Kichi as they should be, or they're not really as close-knit as they should, both having a slight disagreement on how they should be going about things, where Kichi's simple passive way of trying to appeal, trying to go around surveying people, isn't bringing about the results that they want fast enough. As well, the followers seem to want a bit more of extreme action, so he's sparking a revolution. He's sparking it indirectly, coming through what he wants. So he wants something which is fully paved in good intentions, but you know, the saying goes that the highway to hell is paved with good intentions. This doesn't bode well, and it doesn't end well, and it was gonna all start bubbling up. This is where I shamefully write in my notes that I pinned Ito as the bad guy. However, I did think initially I was incorrect. I'm still about 60-40 on this one. So, even though he initially does bad things and he tries to kill our boy at the end, I did start to see him in a slightly different light. The fact is, he was trying to stop Kichi. He was actually trying to save him. So, we did see him corresponding via the means of our disguised beggar at the end, sending across that note at the end as well. Ito kind of lets slip that he doesn't see any way forward. It's more the fact that he sees it as hopeless. The country itself isn't ready for a reform. It's not ready for a transformation. Ito, to me, kind of seems like he was really trying to stop Kichi. He was begging him to do everything. No, get married, get out of this, stop it before it's ahead. Because I think he was trying to save him. I do believe he really didn't want to hurt Kichi at the end. However, he had to. It was part of what who he was working for and what he was doing. But I do think I maybe unpinned him as a bad guy too quickly. It's not as black and white as I initially thought it was. So Ito is an informant. We saw him passing on information last time. And the target is obviously those who are disturbing the peace. He didn't want it to be Kichi. He does try to reach out to Yugiri and actually tries to get her to save Kichi. And that, again, is just bounding in the ways that I think he was trying to stop Kichi becoming involved. He knew it was going to end bad. He knew he would have to end up wiping out the rebellion. He knew he would have to do this. But he really was trying to do all he could to try pushing Kichi out of it, because I think he did really, truly like him. He did enjoy his company, so there was that friendship there. The fact that he even begs Yugiri, look after him, try and keep him out of this. It's nice. It's nice that the character is a bit more well-developed than just being simply the bad guy in all this. Music in this section is really nice. I need to discuss it because it's subtle. There's vocalization. And it's something I really wasn't expecting from Zombieland Saga in general. I mean, it's an anime about idle zombies. Such a nice surprise, in a sense, where it really starts to fit the downtrodden mood of the entire section. The atmosphere is low. Something feels heavy. We know something is slowly looming over our head. The music during the rebellion segment also is a fantastic surprise. The strings start to kick in. We also get to see building of tension via the use of the drums. The drums start to build up. We have vocalization. It all takes place as well in quite an atmospheric way. We have the snow falling. It's very cold. Like, the atmosphere at this point is cold. We also have this build of tension as Kichi is racing to try and stop them because he knows that there's going to be a clash. He knows it's going to end bad. He doesn't want his friends, in a sense, he still considers them people who believe in the same thing he does. He doesn't want them to die. Ito, essentially, I think I've got this right. I could be wrong. I think he's a samurai, perhaps. Could be wrong here. He's there to dispatch the rebellion and he's there to keep the peace. Because we do see that he's not technically working with the police when they do arrive. He's not working alongside them because he ends up fleeing a bit later on. We do see Kichi's grandfather, who has proclaimed many times, "I am Saga," looking like he was approaching his deathbed. I was wrong, or maybe I am right, because I think there's a bit of a question going on here. And he seemingly dies as he is reaching out for the medication. But it's also the fact that we see perhaps Saga, the embodiment of Saga, seemingly dying, as we then flip back to these comrades lying dead in the snow. Saga's hope lying dead. It's a bit of symbolism going on here. The composition of the next scene, the red hari of Kichi echoing the blue kimono on Ito. Two opposing colours. Red is a very passionate colour. Kichi is very passionate about Saga, really wanting to, as we've seen him do anything for what he believes is going to be a free Saga. And it matches the cold, calculated calmness of Ito, who has appeared quite detached during these episodes. I love it. It's a perfect combination of colours. The bridge in the middle separating the two visually as they stand opposite facing one another, upholding two very different beliefs. The atmosphere and the music really, really helps this episode completely. It aids building up tension. We, the audience who have got that bit of foresight, we know something bad is going to happen. At this point as well, we just don't know when it's going to happen. We know that Yugiri is going to die, and the anime does play on the fact that she's going to die, and it does do a bit of a twist later on. It's only able to play that twist up because we are expecting her to die. So I think it really does use the fact that the audience knows what's going to happen. So let's try and fake him out and actually have a fake out initially. Gramps foreshadowing Saga's death, or the death of hope as well. Perhaps the deaths of the people who are about to die as well. I like it. There's a lot of odd symbolism going on. Ito as well, keeping the peace. He was simply keeping an eye on the rebellion. It crossed the line. He had to be involved. Kichi as well, also overpassing that line, where we see him going in to attack Kichi. Seeing Yugiri saving Kichi is great, but it does start to build tension because we know her death is imminent. I was 100% set that it would be by the Ito hands. I thought it was going to be him who killed her. And I really did think he would be the reason for her demise at the end of the day. But saving Kichi is a very nice action. I really like it. Ito flees the sequence when we see the police arriving upon the scene, which is what makes me believe he might be a samurai because he's working outside of the law. Eventually, things like samurai were banned. I don't know too much about the history. I vaguely know these events happened, don't know the details around them, but I know that eventually the way of the samurai died out. So that's perhaps what Ito was, and eventually he himself, his role would have not been needed anymore. Gramps' death times up with the Kichi loss of hope. We see him having a full-on breakdown as he feels guilty about the fact that his friends have died because of his words. Where Yugiri decides to inspire Kichi to take responsibility for his actions, you have to see to the end what you have started. It's a really fantastic scene, seeing her giving him that spark, that hope. You cannot give up. It's an emotional sequence too, because we see Kichi really blaming himself for everything that's happened. The flutes start to kick in during this point, which starts to bring about a new hope as Kichi is given an escape route by Yugiri, who is helping him out and has planned initially for this. She perhaps knew what was going to happen, used the information by Ito and that lot to plan out an escape route and try and help Kichi, because she really did believe that he could bring about peace. He could bring about the happy saga that he was really believing in. It's all as well part of the Friends in High Places. She has got some really good connections as well. Live another day and then you can bring about Saga, so you can't die here or Saga's hope would die. And I've just got to give it to you. How stylish is Yugiri hiding a sword within a shamisen? This is beyond cool and gets a lot of points from me. Our girl fully knowing how to fight and protect herself, buying Kichi some time to escape, where we see Ito meeting up because he was following Kichi. Maybe he was eventually just going to have to kill him out of, even though I don't think he really wanted to, he was following him with that intention. The fight happens so quick. The use of absolute silence. Nobody reacts initially at first. And this creates the tension because it wasn't clear immediately off the bat who had won. Yugiri's face initially suggested like she had lost because it looked like she might have been in pain. But I think she was more in pain of what she had to do. I think the fact that she had to fight Ito, which is Kichi's friend at the end of the day, is something that she didn't want to do. Ito is the one who goes down. This is the twist because we were expecting Yugiri to die. We just didn't know when. But the full moon coming out, symbolizing the truth finally being uncovered. Ito's final words being a echo of Kichi's apparent to him childish, foolish dream and then dying in peace. I think as well him saying you've got the short end of the stick, meaning he knew it would end bad for Yugiri and the fact that she was protecting him. I also don't think he wanted to kill Kichi, so him dying with a smile on his face as well. She ends up shouldering the blame. I was 100% convinced she would die at this moment. However, the way she goes out is a bit more fitting. Gramps is alive / dead. He's a zombie. And what gave it away was Zomdog was standing there with blood on his chest. Now, does this give us a hint at what happens to become a zombie? How you become a zombie? Do you need to maybe drink the blood of a zombie already? Because maybe the zombie dog helped him in that sense. Why he's alive is one of those things where I was like, why are you alive? You definitely shouldn't be alive. Now, Yugiri's death. She dies as a bit of a martyr. She ends up shouldering the entire blame on her own shoulders that somebody would have to die for the rebellion, and she's the one who ends up dying. But she has time to leave behind a letter explaining herself to Gramps. She essentially knew she was going to die. She was fully committed to helping Kichi see his dream through. It was a dream she too also wanted to see, and she made the ultimate sacrifice. Yugiri dies for the rebellion. She shoulders the blame, and we even hear that they say that everyone would never know about this rebellion. She was essentially forgotten to history. Her sacrifice was there to allow Kichi to live another day and try again. Yugiri's zombie scar now explained, the way she ends up going out, the beheading. We've always seen that scar around her neck. But I do have big questions. How was her body reclaimed? Seemingly, if she was murdered and nobody was told about the details of this event, the government's not going to say, hey, their bodies are over here. I'm also surprised that there was a body left. Not they didn't burn them afterwards just to kind of hide the evidence. Saga's independence came in 1883, the same year that she died. I really didn't know about this information. This is a bit of a history lesson to me as well. But this episode made me feel the feels. It really made me feel sad at the end. And I never thought Zombieland Saga would be able to achieve anything similar to even feeling feels. By hands down, this is the best arc for me. I think they did a fantastic job. It looked beautiful. It evoked the emotions. Having the Easter egg cameos as well. Really, really love it. Actually having something like this, starting the story, sparking it all, showing that Yugiri's linked to the past, to the present, having that kind of same mindset, the same mission. I love that to pieces. Modern day Yugiri really is just as beautiful as the old day. The transition as well, using the history to the modern day, is very, very nice. I really didn't know any of that information, so it's nice to get a bit of information on something that I really just didn't have any knowledge upon. The segment does leave a lot of questions though. So I've got things like, how did they end up finding her body? Or was it, do you actually need the bodies to make zombies? Surely as well, her body would need to be brought back quite quickly. Perhaps it's something to do with Gramps. Maybe Gramps was the one who did it. Maybe, big question mark there as well. It does seem like they do need a body to become zombies. But I do worry that if you leave it enough time and the body is very decomposed, is that even possible to bring back that person as a zombie anymore? Is there a point where you cross the line and they've been dead for too long to become a zombie? What happened to Kichi? Did he ever come back? Did he ever find out the truth about what happened to Yugiri? Because she tells the grandfather, don't tell him what happened, tell him I got out okay, lie to him. And what did the zombie dog do to the uncle? The end song is really, really, really funky. I love it. It's fun. It's just the shamisen with the beautiful lyrics. Her voice is absolutely amazing. Kudos to the voice artist for Yugiri when it comes to singing. But much shamisen love this season because of Masahiro no Oto. That's another anime that I am adoring to pieces. So much love hearing the shamisen in a different place as well, different song. The song is a mixture of genres. It really does feel like a mixture of modern meets the old style, new style, which is what I think Yugiri stands for. The idea of having this new hope for the future, wanting to live her life like she promised in the new saga that has been built. But she's also remembering the past. She's the one who carries the past over. So the mix of genres, new meets old, really, really works for her. Playing out the past characters, the past arc characters, is also really nice, giving us more of that link to the past to the present. It's fun. The song has a lot of attitude. Yugiri simply just on fire, this song. The answer to one of my questions was given at the end, Grandpa being alive as the bartender, which is great because it simply gives Yugiri a person to talk to who is from her time period. So she's not truly alone in this time period. She can talk to him about it. The zombie dog definitely turned him into a zombie, but how? So is the method of zombie-fication something to do with drinking that dog's blood? Maybe. But how did that dog become a zombie in the first place? Lots and lots of questions there. The picture at the end as well, taking us out of this episode. The past can be remembered in that sense that they're all happy in that picture at that moment of time. I really do believe that Ito really didn't want to kill his friend, and at the end of the day he was a good guy at heart. So I don't think it's as black and white as going he's the bad guy, he's the good guy. He's simply doing his best. He truly believed that hope was all lost for Saga, so he was keeping an eye, and when it crossed looking into the idea of them being an uprising, creating a rebellion, he had to step in. But I think he did try his hardest to try turning Kichi away from this path, trying to save his life before he sadly got in too deep over his head. I love it. This episode, this whole arc was fantastic. It's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. I don't think we're going to match the awesomeness of the arc for me, but I could be wrong. So it's going to be very interesting to see if there's any tie-ins, if there's any link between Kichi and Kotaro whatsoever. I want to believe there is, but then I think Kotaro would have said something to Yugiri by this point and we would have seen some different interactions. Not sure. So lots of questions. Lots of time now. We've only got 3 episodes left, so how are we going to end this sequence? Next week looks very interesting, so can't wait to see where we go. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. I had fun this episode. I hope you guys also had fun and also found the backstory for Yugiri to be really, really cool to see. Loved it. See you guys again soon. Stay safe. Bye-bye.